Brian Van from SportBikeTracker.com, and today we're going to recap the inaugural voyage on our 2013 STG project bike. As I'm sure you already know, we chose a 2012 Yamaha R1, it was a brand new bike, to prep to ride on the racetrack. This is going to be our giveaway bike for this year. When we're done with this bike, at the end of October, we're going to pick a winner and give it away. Pretty sweet contest. I suggest you enter. We rode in March of 2013, just last month, with our friends from Sport Bike Track Time at Barber Motorsports Park. It's my favorite track. STT is my favorite track day organization. They do a phenomenal job. The folks that run it, Trevor and his wife Cindy down there, and of course the owner Richard Harris, all his staff. Phenomenal job. Favorite racetrack. I love going down there. On Saturday, I rode my 600. I'm a 600 guy. I've never had 1,000. This is the first 1,000 that I've ever had that was once is kind of mine. It's mine for a while, that I've been able to take out and ride his mountain. Rode the 600 on Saturday, rode the 1,000 on Sunday. I ride reasonably well down at Barber. For the first ride of the year, it's been a while, it was okay. I got into about the mid 35s on my 600, not too bad. And then on Sunday, I rode the R1. I think it was by the second or third session, I got low 35s on the R1. And I just loved it. I mean, the bike, everything worked great. Let's kind of talk about the state of preparation I had the motorcycle in, and I'll tell you how each of the changes I made, how I felt that they were. You've probably seen the videos. Suspension, 30mm Öhlins fork cartridge kit, installed Witchcraft Motorsports. Öhlins TTX rear shock, right? I installed that. Öhlins steering damper. We put all the clickers at the baseline settings as recommended by Öhlins. Even the geometry is at the baseline settings recommended by Öhlins. The only thing we adjusted was the preload. Joe came out, we did a quick sag on the motorcycle, right? We showed you how to do that. And all we're looking to do there is just put the preload at a good starting position. From there, I did nothing. I rode it as is, and I have to be honest with you, this motorcycle handled phenomenally. I was shocked. A lot of people would give me feedback that this thing handled like a big old tank. It didn't like to turn, all this. You have to do all this crazy stuff to it to make it happen. I disagree completely. We put this stuff on the motorcycle. I went out and rode it. And in my opinion, it handled damn near as good as my 600. I mean, it was really close enough that, believe you me, I wasn't complaining, especially when I twisted the throttle and the thing actually went somewhere. The power delivery was sweet. The way this cross plane works, the way it lays down the power, I mean, it really feels like it feels so linear, right? So confidence inspiring, easy to get on the gas. The stock TC system, I had it set on 2 bars, right? I did change the tires on the bike. 200 Pirelli SC2 rear slick, great tire. SC1 front, they work great and they wore great. I rode it all day, and the rear tire, hardly any wear on it. And like I said, the thing handled phenomenally. Let's talk about other modifications I'd done before we went. Race bodywork, armor bodies, fit great. That, of course, worked fine. You have to have brake lines to ride on the track. Spiegler front brake lines, quick disconnects. I did that. Stock brake pads, though, and still stock master cylinder. Those are things we'll address as we go on. The brakes on this bike were sick. I mean, when I say these brakes were sick, these gigantic 6-piston calipers, they work great. The feel is phenomenal. There was no fade. I really appreciated the way the brakes work, and I can't wait to get a high-end set of brake pads on there and see what they're going to be like. If they were this good stock, they should be pretty amazing with a high-end set of Vezras on there for sure. Exhaust system. Graves Link titanium full exhaust. It shaved a ton of weight off this bike. It worked great, obviously. Even with the stock ECU, the fueling, everything was phenomenal. Loved it. It sounds great. A lot of compliments on that. And look at it, it's freaking gorgeous. Battery. We put that ballistic battery in there. Remember, I put the 8-cell battery in the bike, even though they recommended a 12, because I wanted to make it as light as possible. The temps at the high were about 70 degrees. It was pretty cool in the morning. The bike turned over without any issue, even with the 8-cell. Remember, I chose to do that because I'm not running any lights, any accessories whatsoever. We're down to bare bones. You know, engine control system, fuel pump, that's it. So the 8-cell worked great, 0 hiccups. You saw the install video for that as well. Woodcraft rear sets. Went with GP shift. The Woodcraft rear set has always been a nice product, but I mean, look at the new peg, right? The folding toe pieces. it's a high-end kit of rear sets in my opinion at this point. I really like the new peg. The traction was great. The shifting was perfect. I loved it. Great set of rear sets. I think they're probably some of the best in the country at this point. The replacement parts, there's no other brand that's easier to source replacement parts for. Stomp grip on the tank. You have to have that. You need to be able to have good grip when you squeeze the tank. It makes it easier to hang off, and then when you're braking, you squeeze the tank a little bit, you use less energy, so you're not slamming forward when you're on the brakes. Stomp grip worked great as well. No quick shifter and stock gearing. I was using first gear on this bike in a lot of different turns on the racetrack. Really wasn't my favorite thing to do on 1,000, be using first gear. I'm looking forward to getting that big gigantic 530 chain off there. We've got some driven sprockets down here. We're going to change the gearing so I can try and stay away from first gear, right? You know, second gear, second through, you know, fifth, sixth, depending upon the racetrack. Quick shifter. That was a huge obstacle for me, not having a quick shifter. We're going to get the Pizzazz kit on there, full TC, quick shifter, the whole thing. And what's cool, spoke with the guys at Pizzazz, I can turn the stock TC off and try the Pizzazz TC. Or I can turn the Pizzazz TC off and run the stock TC and kind of compare the two head to head. From talking to their tech, it sounds like it's going to work that way, and I'm looking forward to doing that. But what I'm really looking forward to is that quick shifter, because not having a quick shifter is flipping killing me. Having a blip to shift, haven't had to do that in like 8 years. Getting on a bike and doing that for the first time in that long was difficult, and also it really seemed to have this arm pump issue, and it really seemed to kind of add to that too, you know, whatever. Looking forward to putting that on there. More parts that we need to put on this bike. Showed you the driven stuff, the Pizzazz stuff. Got Woodcraft clip-ons, Woodcraft, right, lever guards, both sides. We've got an awesome Woodcraft shark guard. Put that down there so your foot doesn't get caught in the chain if you crash. Woodcraft frame sliders, best in the business. Woodcraft engine covers. Got a sweet driven top triple clamp. Can't wait. It's just bling. Really, it's the reason we're putting that on there. It looks cool like my gas cap. And we've got a nice zero gravity Corsa windscreen. I rode with a stock windscreen. Right, I drilled it and installed it on the bike. Rode with the stock windscreen for the first ride. So there you have it. The cliff notes are this. I loved it. This bike is awesome. It's awesome the way it sits. It's going to be even extra awesome when I put all these sweet parts that we have on the floor on the bike. We'll finish off the year, right, just setting this thing up and really getting it dialed in. But if this first ride is any indication, somebody is going to win a real kick-ass motorcycle. I'm excited to ride it for the rest of the year, and I can't wait to hand it to somebody else, and I hope they really enjoy it. I'm Brian Van, sportbiketrackgear.com.